Hey everyone, Mr. Fritz here. I am excited to launch what our final project will be, and it's something I'm really looking forward to. It's basically going to be making a simple fighting game, kind of a turn-based player versus enemy game. Not going to be anything with like graphics or anything too crazy, and it should be within your reach. But I think it could be something that you can definitely add your own stamp to, and I'm looking forward to coding this with you. So I thought the easiest way to do this would be I'm going to create some videos that kind of get you started, and you're able to then take my code and make it your own for your final project. So let's just dive into it. What you're going to do is in your sandbox, you're going to create a program, and you can call it something like Final Project Fighting Game. Oh, looks like I don't have enough for that. So Final Project is what I'll call this thing. And we're going to make this in regular old Python. It's just going to be text-based. So we'll create the program. So in this video, we're just going to start off with the basics, and then I'll do a few more videos to kind of add some things to this. So the first thing we'll do is it looks like there's all kinds of starter code. We can get rid of this. And what I kind of envision this to be is one of those really simple, kind of like Pokemon type games where you've got a player and an enemy, and you just take turns attacking, and you get to see like, oh, you delivered this much damage, and you have this much HP left. And you are certainly able to, if you want, and you have the skill to make this as complex as you like, but let's start off with something really simple. So what I'm thinking about is let's start off with some code or some comments to kind of create like some steps. So I'm going to make a multi-line comment here, and this is kind of what we want our code to look like. So the first thing I want to happen is I want there to be a player takes a turn attacking, and then I want the enemy to take damage, and then I'll want the enemy to take a turn attacking, and then I'll have the player take damage. And at the end of the day, I really want this to kind of like repeat 1 through 4 until one player dies, right? So if this is kind of like a fighting game, they keep going back and forth until someone has 0 HP, and then it's over. So that's kind of what we want. And it could build out from there, but we're going to start with something simple like this. So let's come up with some sections. We want to have a beginning prompt. And let's do something kind of simple like print welcome to the ultimate fighting game. And let's collect the name of the player. So we'll get some input, player name. That's going to equal the input. What is your name? And they'll type in their name. Let's also get the enemy's name. Input, who is your enemy? So we'll collect both of those things as variables, store them in player name and an enemy name, and then let's just print out something like excellent, excellent. Prepare for battle. And then let's put the player's name, just give it that little touch of customization, player name. And then we're going to let's add an exclamation part to really send this thing off. And it's always not a bad idea, or it's never a bad idea, to just run things as we are coding, make sure things work. So let's run this code. And welcome to Ultimate Fighting Game. What is your name? My name, let's go with Bartrius. That sounds like a cool name. Who's your enemy? We'll say Dragon. Excellent. Prepare for battle, Bartrius, or Truus. Great. Looks good. All right. Now let's have a player's turn. Player turn. So a player turn should be, we want to have, let's think about what a turn actually means. So we'll go back up here. And the player takes a turn attacking. We'll kind of need some way to determine random damage, right? So if we want to make this fun, we want to have some sort of random piece to this, right? So it's not just I hit you with 5 points of damage and then 5 points of damage. You want to make it a little exciting, and will I do a lot of damage or a little damage? So we'll do some sort of random damage in our player attack. So let's do that. We are going to, let's start off by printing player name attacks, the string space attacks enemy name. So that kind of sets it up. And then let's get a damage amount as a random number. So if I want to use random numbers, I'm going to have to import the random library at the very top. So let's import random. And then down here, let's make a variable to store the damage. So damage will equal random.randint. And let's just start off with something from maybe like 2 to 10. So the player will deliver either 2 points of damage up to 10 points of damage. So we've collected the damage, and we'll print out the player or enemy name takes, and then we're going to add the string of the damage, and then points of damage. So let me just say what I just did here. So we're going to print whatever the enemy's name is. We're going to add to that the word takes. We're going to add to that the value damage, but because it's a number, we have to turn it into a string, so it can be added in between strings. And we're going to say that many points of damage. So let's see if this runs. What is your name? We'll say A. Who's your enemy? B. Excellent. Prepare for battle. A. B takes 3 points of damage. Great. Now this is all well and good, but we need to actually once we give the enemy the damage, we need to actually calculate updated HP. So if you've played these games before, you know what I'm talking about, but essentially there's just an amount of health that the player has, and then as we attack, that health goes down, and it's just kind of like a test tube that just loses its health until we reach 0. So actually probably what we should do at the very beginning of our code is maybe just set up player and enemy. So why don't we just say that the player HP is, let's start off with something like 50, and then enemy HP also is 50. Okay, so now that we've done this, we've gotten the damage, and we have printed that the damage has been delivered. Now what we need to do is actually decrease. Let me get some more space in here. Decrease the enemy HP. So we're going to say enemy HP will now equal whatever it used to be, enemy HP minus whatever the damage is. So that just updates it, and then let's print out enemy name, and then we're going to say has, the word has. We're going to add the string enemy HP, and then we'll say HP remaining. All right, let's see if that works. So we'll run the code. What is your name? My name's Bob. Who's your enemy? We'll say Fish. Fish takes 6 points of damage. Fish has 44 HP remaining. Great. And maybe just for stylistic reasons, I'll put a space and make that capitalized. So just to kind of flush out what's going on here, we have calculated the new enemy HP by taking what the old enemy HP was, which was set up here as 50, and we've subtracted whatever that random value is up here. So far we have a pretty good, just like one round. If we wanted to add some extra flavor to this or make it look a little bit prettier, I guess, we could just put some spaces in there. That's never a bad idea. If you wanted to maybe just throw a space in between the player turn or before the player turn, you could just have an empty print statement, and that's just going to put a line in there, and that might make things a little bit more appealing to the eye. So that's it for the player turn. In the next video, we're going to add the enemy turn, and I encourage you to actually see if you can do that yourself. It's really the same type of mechanics, but except you're switching it. So everywhere you see player, you're going to switch with enemy. So why don't you try doing that, and in the next video, we'll do the enemy turn together.